Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, guys? This is another episode of the Cogcast podcast, and this is the weekly recap and Q and A where we go over last week's videos and we answer some questions.
All right. Last week's videos
Y'all keep talking. We're a little loud.
we have a turkey who is raising a chick. And the turkey is still raising the chick.
And that is Miss Ruby.
That is Miss Ruby and Miss Rhonda, excuse you.
They are on
They
split
share.
duty, yeah. And the chick's doing well, perfectly fine.
What'd you say earlier today that was so funny? Something about the
chicken or two mamas.
yeah, but you didn't call it the chick.
Onyx and the two mothers.
Onyx and her two mamas.
Onyx and her two mamas. So we named the little chick Onyx. She's a black chick. The turkey, Ruby, hatched this egg. She had a bunch of eggs up under her. She had a lot of turkey eggs, which we knew were not fertile. Thomas has not been in his groove. However, the tides have changed.
Yes.
Today he
That's
was
right.
courting Ruby.
He was.
And Ruby was babysitting. She had no time for Thomas.
No.
But she's doing a very good job, don't y'all think?
I think she's doing a wonderful job. Especially being, she's not even a year old yet, right?
Oh.
She's
what,
like
what month?
8 months.
Yeah, she's probably about 8 months old. And then she has a sister named Rhonda.
Yeah.
Who is sitting on eggs. And they are sharing this mother duty. So when Ruby gets up and it were to be cold outside or whatever, then Rhonda kind of takes over, and the chick we'll see her sometimes standing on Rhonda's back or Ruby's back or peeking out from under. Now they are still sitting in the goat pen.
Yes.
And I am still taking feed and water to them.
And you know it's as cold as it's been.
I just had my doubts that they were going to make it.
I did too.
Well, I shouldn't say that the chick was going to make it. Yes, but y'all, today was warm.
Today was beautiful.
And the chick is doing fine.
Doing great.
And I probably will regret saying that.
Knock on
Let's
wood.
hope not.
Let's hope not. The other video we did last week was we rehomed the ringneck pheasants. We took them to Robert at Daybird Aviaries, and we just decided that they wasn't just they were fighting and they were picking on the red goldens pretty good.
We had shown the pen of pheasants in a video, and I received a couple of messages stating that wasn't going to work in the future. That they were going to show their dominance. More than likely, the ringnecks would show their dominance to the red gold, and we would have to part with one of them. And so we talked about it. Marycarl decided that she wanted to keep the red golds. So we had our good buddy Robert over there at Daybird Aviaries, and lo and behold, this man has every bird under the sun, and he did not have any ringnecks.
I can't believe he didn't have ringnecks.
Can you, Marycarl?
No.
I mean, he's like the bird guru.
He is. I can't believe he didn't have ringnecks.
So with open arms, he accepted our ringnecks, and they had not even started laying yet.
No.
But I wouldn't be surprised if I don't get a message from him any day now saying
they're laying.
They're laying.
That'd be awesome.
And they're probably happier at Daybird Aviaries than they were here anyway. So,
Speaking of pheasants, game birds in general, one of the questions we had, do we still raise quail? We do raise very few quail. We have button quail, which are pretty much pets. They lay the little tiny green eggs that are spotted. And then the bob whites, we have 3 bob whites and pipsqueak and 2 lady friends.
and back to the video that was about us giving the pheasants away.
Right.
What happened over the weekend that has not happened in a long time in that pheasant pen, which is also where the quail are?
The hay? Or
Yeah. What happened?
the we put hay in there so they could eat the little seeds out of it and stuff. And the quail got up under the hay.
They got up under the hay, and Pipsqueak, he started singing and doing his little call.
He did.
Almost as soon as we rehomed the ringnecks.
Because they all were in the pen together.
And I took that as an indication that we made the right choice and that Pipsqueak was happy.
Well, also the day we not got rid of them, but rehomed them, the red golden started making a call that I haven't heard since I've been down there.
Yeah, it was kind of alarming because it was to the point where we were both like, "What was that noise?"
Yeah.
Have you noticed it, Marycarl?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I did.
I did too.
It's in the video. One of the videos coming
It's
out,
like
I think.
tick, tick.
Well, it's just a noise that your daddy and I weren't familiar with, and I can tell you, I really believe that the quail are happier.
Yeah.
And I think that the hen might have been laying and something disturbed her because we put the hay in there and made little burrows up under there.
The quail.
And that was another thing is since we parted with all of our quail, we had so many eggs when we had all the quail, of course,
Yes.
because we had a lot of quail.
We had a ton of quail.
But we kept 2 female and then Pipsqueak, who's Marycarl's oldest, Bob White. But they have not laid. Those 2 females have not laid since we put them in there.
They have not.
And when she was making her little tunnel yesterday, Marycarl was convinced that she was laying an egg. And we didn't go back and check behind her, but she may have.
It looked like
I
she was.
looked today.
You
There
did?
wasn't a
There
little
nothing there?
egg.
She
Well,
looked like she was building a nest.
I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few days we don't have a Bob White egg.
I agree.
Let's don't hatch anymore.
It's not hatching anymore.
So what happened to the quail?
We gave them to our friends over at JK Farms,
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and Stan. And don't they still sell quail eggs?
Yeah, they're a big quail farm. That's where we got majority of our quail to start with. Is Kathy and Stan at JK Quail Farm. We've had a lot of people ask, do we sell quail? Do we sell quail eggs? Or who can they get quail from? These were Georgia Giant Bob Whites. They were beautiful, beautiful quail, and they did get big for quail. And you can contact them via email, and that is digirl46@aol.com. And I'll put that across the screen, and I'll try to put that in the video description as well. So if anybody's out there wanting quail, you can contact them, and they are MPIP certified, so they can ship you eggs.
They can ship eggs anywhere. And now, whether they're laying well at this right
Right.
now, I don't know. But you can always get on their list to contact when they are available if they don't have any available at this time. And if you're in Alabama, they sell grown quail as well. So you may want to, if you're in a distance where you could drive to Shorter, Alabama, and you want some grown quail to get your farm started or whatever, give them a call. You can't call an email address.
Email her.
Email her, digirl46@aol.com.
Super great folks.
They are.
Shorter's near Auburn, so somewhere in there.
Right.
Auburn, Montgomery, kind of, I guess it's closer to Auburn, I guess.
And one reason we decided to part with our quail is because we did not have near the space that Kathy and Stan have over
Right.
at JK. They have this huge dream aviary that Marycarl would like to imitate one day.
Construct.
Yeah. And they have lots of room. They have a big cabinet incubator that they hatch eggs out of, and it's just more ideal area for them to raise the quail than what we have. We're just limited.
Plus, too, one of our plans for the quail was the restaurant and the catering service.
That's true.
And then, of course, they went out of business because of COVID, and so therefore we didn't have a market for it, and so we decided, to part with them.
That's right.
Another question we had about quail was, can we candle the button quail eggs because they're so dark? Yes, you can, because they are a very, very thin shell. I had some in a little cup today, and the cup hit a table or something. I can't remember what I hit, but that it was very light hit, and a few of them busted. That just tells you how thin the shells are.
Very thin.
So you can candle a button quail egg for fertility?
Yeah, it would be hard to see it because it's so little. It's like that big.
But you
Even
could
little.
see in there, in through the shell.
Yeah, you could probably tell if there was a baby in it.
After about a week, they only just like
goodness,
14 days.
yeah,
So
it's
on a
very
button quail
quick
egg.
for a button quail, so you could probably
so,
candle
probably
it.
3 days you could see something.
Mm-hmm.
I bet so.
But the egg that I can't candle right now, you can candle a goose egg,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I've had experience with that you cannot candle is an emu egg. They
Yeah,
are
that's true.
so thick
Yeah, the emu
that
eggs.
you can't get in it.
I would say that we may have a hard time if we were to try to candle a penascata egg.
Yeah,
Penascinca.
you're probably right. But it was about this time last year when we were trying to hatch emu eggs.
It was.
And we did not know if the eggs were fertile or not. The lady that we got them from was a friend of ours. She was actually local, and she had a pair, male and females, but she never saw any activity to indicate that they were actually a pair. And she also never, she didn't even know for sure that she had a male and a female.
Right.
However, we had visited her place a couple of times, and the differences in the call. What does the male make the drum?
Yes.
I think the female makes the drum.
Yeah,
Anyway.
the female drums and the male grunts.
Well, they were making different sounds, so we knew she had a pair. We knew it wasn't two females.
When Nugget, go on.
No, you go ahead.
Well, Nugget, he's done a little since we got him, but I heard him do it today. It was more like it was really funny because he's starting to lose that little.
Well, I look back today because I was questioning. I've had a lot of emails on people asking, where can I get an emu? And so, I knew that they were seasonal layers.
Right.
And I knew that their season started about November, but it depends on the part of country you're in, of course. So November, December, January, February, whatever. And then it takes 60 days for that egg to hatch. So I started thinking people probably ought to be looking for eggs now. I looked back and found out that we got Nugget in June, and he was 3 weeks old the first week of June. And so he was born about the middle of May.
Okay.
So I'm planning for a birthday party right now.
Yeah.
Nugget birthday party.
That's right.
We
I'm
can
Like his
make him-
gender reveal party.
yeah.
We could make him like something to put corn in, like maybe a balloon, and let him pop it and then eat the corn out of.
Girl,
Make him
I'm
a
thinking more
corn
like
cake.
I'm thinking more like a cake Brooke can eat.
Yeah.
Where are you going with this?
Yeah. Speaking of Nugget, we've had a lot of people, because we've gotten a ton of new subscribers,
Right.
wanting to know, is Nugget ever going to get a mate? And we're probably not.
Well, I can't
never
say for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
But right now, we love Nugget the way Nugget is. And sometimes when there's a mate involved, they can lose that affection that they have for you and turn it to their mate. And we don't want to lose our Nugget. However, I mean, that may sound kind of selfish, but Nugget knows nothing about the opposite.
Right.
It's not like I just don't feel like we're keeping anything from him because he's never known anything.
Well, the other thing I worry about is, could he get aggressive?
Well, that's
the other thing.
That's definitely
And plus the females, which we've heard and read from many people, are not near as friendly as the males.
That's right.
So why don't we add something that's not going to be friendly to start with, and possibly not make Nugget friendly? So that's one reason why main reason why right now we're probably not going to give Nugget a mate. But Nugget's got plenty of friends. I mean, he's got turkeys, peacocks,
He's
geese,
happy.
chickens.
And I think
us.
he considers Marycarl his BFF.
So yeah, so Nugget's perfectly happy the way he is. Another question about getting a mate recently is Peaches. Peaches needs a boyfriend? I can't tell you how many times I've read that. Peaches needs a boyfriend. Peaches used to have a boyfriend, and she absolutely could not stand him. His name was Marshall. Marshall was a nice pig. He was he wasn't Peaches. We don't know if Peaches is special. Peaches, we've owned two potbelly pigs.
Hey, back that up. Yeah. We don't know if Peaches is special. We know Peaches is special.
Peaches
Jason.
is special. But,
I'm going to tell her you said that.
but dude, is that common for them to act like Peaches? That's what I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any experience with them, so I don't know if that's true or not.
I kind of feel like we're going back to that gender thing.
Maybe
I
maybe
think that maybe just a female pig may be friendlier than a male pig.
Maybe so.
Because back when we used to raise American guinea hogs, you know that the females were always friendlier than the males.
They were. Yep, they were. Even the cut males too. So
Marycarl, tell them a little bit about Marshall and how Peaches really didn't care for him.
He cared for her, but
he did. He cared for her.
He did care for her.
He used to build a bed in on the little hill, and
he would gather all kinds of things that he thought would entice Peaches to be his wife, and she would just go plop down in the bed and go to sleep.
And
like, thank you.
She would build a wall in between them, and he'd be like, "What'd you do this for?"
But he would build her a bed first, and then he would build him a bed. And the next morning, she had parted ways with him. I mean, she got aggravated with him.
She'd run him off.
Yeah, you could just tell.
She did not like him. It was, and like I said, Marshall was not aggressive towards her. He was so sweet, but she did not care for Marshall.
And when we got Marshall, he was not neutered. He was an intact male.
That's right.
And we did not want to take a chance, Peaches being a full-size potbelly pig, of her getting pregnant. So we did have him neutered. And he still, he didn't try to breed with her or anything, but she didn't want anything to do with him.
She didn't want anything to do with him at all. She did not want anything to do with him.
So in one of our videos, we videoed us taking Marshall to our friend Julie's house. We actually took him in a horse trailer.
We did.
And he had lots of room to roam, and she had other pigs as well.
That's right.
So Marshall and Peaches, no more.
So that's the reason why that we haven't gotten Peaches another buddy, because she did not like Marshall one bit.
I don't know how she would act with a female, but I don't think it'd be very good.
She really is queen bee. She doesn't want anybody to get near her beds. She's so set in her ways.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
But sometimes the dogs will steal her bed, and
she gets mad about
She gets
that.
so mad.
She gets mad.
She starts
about
grunting,
so mad.
and then she'll finally shoo them away, and they'll be like,
she gets so mad. So mad.
So Peaches is not going to have a mate. Not during her lifetime anyway.
We'll look at some of these questions. We got several of them printed here. We'll try to hit as many as we can. Marycarl, this one's for you. Is why do we use distilled water instead of regular water inside the incubators?
Because the minerals tend to build up in the incubators, and distilled water is distilled, which means it's purified and it doesn't have the
minerals have been taken
That's
out.
right.
Yeah, and I don't think it harms the eggs, just the incubator itself.
Just the
keeps the incubator healthy.
Well, is it the end of the world if you don't use distilled water?
Nope.
No, but you may have issues later down the road at some point.
It's kind of like, ironing your clothes and using water out of the faucet. You're going to get that little bit of build up. And
That's right.
if you've used the iron long enough with faucet water, you're going to see that little white build up of calcification and whatever else. And I guess that's kind of the same thing that would happen with an incubator over time.
Over time, yeah, I agree.
But if you've got an incubator that you spend a pretty penny on, you probably don't want to mess it up. So
that's right.
So using, paying $1 or $2 for a bottle of purified water, not purified, distilled water, is not going to break the bank.
That's right. Another one that's geared toward Marycarl is somebody's noticed a different side-by-side on the property in the videos lately. And somebody else asked, did we get a new side-by-side? That is a yes, but it's not me or Mrs. Cog Hill got a side-by-side. Marycarl got her very own side-by-side.
I know y'all have probably seen in the videos, we have a little Kubota side-by-side that's a family. Beep beep is what we call it.
We call it the beep beep.
We call it the beep beep because we got it when Marycarl was about 2 years old, probably.
Maybe so.
And she called it the beep beep. So it's always been known as the beep beep. So Marycarl could not drive the beep beep as well as she would like to have.
Mm-hmm.
And did you want your own?
Yes.
She
And
wanted her
why?
own.
Why did you want your own?
Because you would junk it up.
Oh, I knew she was going to say that, and that's why I asked. She wanted a youth size side by side, so her daddy and myself could not fill it full of junk because the youth side by side is built for youth.
It is built for you. Even though me and Mrs. Cog Hill can ride in it.
We can ride
We
in
can
it.
ride in it. But it is smaller. It does have a bed on it, so she can haul her chicken feed. And I know that she's probably hauled some chickens around in it already.
And this was part of the reason that we took Robert the pheasants on the day that we did.
That's right.
To Marycarl's surprise, her daddy and I had ordered it without her knowledge because we had questioned her about what she would want and this, that, and the other. So when we took Robert the pheasants over in Birmingham, Alabama, we just so happened to drive by the dealership that sold these side-by-sides, and it was in stock, and Marycarl was just thrilled to know that she had her very own side-by-side. And she does wear a helmet when she's driving it. It does have a roll cage around it. It's very safe. It has seat belts. And the coolest thing about it is you can set the speed by an app on your phone, and the child has the ability to not go over what you set it. And also something called an eco fence. And that is the perimeter as to where they can't go outside of it. Now, we haven't had to worry about this because we have a very special child that doesn't disobey the rules. But it's a good feature.
It is a good feature. Plus, we're kind of limited on space too.
Right.
But she does have her very own side by side. So yes, y'all have seen we call it the buggy.
No, we call it
Toot toot.
The toot toot. Okay.
She and I were talking the other night, and she said, "Mom, I got a good idea. Let's name it the toot toot." So
The
we got
beep
the toot toot and the beep beep. The toot toot is the little one. The beep beep's the big one.
That's funny.
So she was very proud to have her very own side by side.
Another question we've been getting a lot lately that we haven't really mentioned in the videos, and that is, yes, we do have a white peacock.
Yes.
Her name is?
Crystal.
We have a white peacock.
We have a white peacock.
Her best friend is Popcorn's baby, Roomba.
Crystal and a chicken are like this because they grew up together. They hatched
Yes.
together and grew up together.
And we didn't say anything about her. We know it's a female in earlier videos because we really didn't know the situation as to if it was going to remain healthy. You just couldn't tell because it was a sole peacock.
Right.
And the pea-chick is approaching a year old.
Yeah, she's getting on up in age.
She's older than Little O, actually. And
Is she?
Yeah. She's about 3 weeks older than Little O, probably.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But Scott has shown Crystal a whole lot of attention here lately. And another thing is that she displays a lot, indicating like she's a male, showing her tail. But you can't go by that. On a peacock, a female will display their tail just like a male.
They will.
So just if you've got a female, if you've got a peacock that you don't know, peafowl, I should say, that you don't know the sex of, and it starts displaying his tail, don't automatically assume you got a male, right, Marycarl?
That's right.
Yeah, and a male peafowl is called a peacock. A female is called a peahen, and a baby is called a pea-chick.
There you go.
So I need to look back at and see when exactly Little O was sitting last year.
Big O.
I'm sorry, Big O.
You'll have to go look at that video.
Because it's getting close to breeding season.
It's getting close to breeding season, but we'll know when it's breeding season. 1,000%.
Oh, yes.
We will know when it's breeding season
So
because
will everybody
Scott
that lives around us.
is going to let you know. Because if you don't know,
It goes,
male peacocks are extremely vocal during breeding season, and it is very, very loud.
And he has not done that as of yet.
Not
it's
yet.
like,
But
really
times
loud.
10.
that's right.
And he may do it 5-6 times in a row, and then stop for a few minutes and do it again 5-6 times in a row.
But it does only happen during breeding season.
That's it. And
That's
I think breeding seasons are usually like 5 months long for peacocks. It's longer than what we think.
When it's happening, it feels like 12 months.
It does. It's really tough videoing and vlogging when he is on it because
It's random.
It's way worse than the geese.
Oh,
if y'all think the
goodness.
geese are loud, he
You
is
just wait.
way worse. And you'll see me get frustrated. And you'll see it became a joke, I guess, this past year because we'd always say Scott because you can just hear him. It's you'll know it.
And the females do make a noise, but it's nothing like the males.
Nothing like that.
Pew!
Yeah.
It's not that loud.
Nothing like
but
that.
they go
Mhm.
And
when something flies over.
one of the oddest things that I've found this year is we've had peacocks for, oh my goodness, for a long time.
Long time.
But Ozella hatched her first brood last year, and she has little O that survived that brood. And y'all, that baby, which is almost a year old, does not get out of her mama's sight.
Still doesn't get out of her mama's sight.
And if she does, they're going to do that little call back and forth,
Mm-hmm.
back and forth to know where each other are.
And they look identical.
I can't tell them apart.
I
Marycarl
can.
can.
They look
Little O
identical.
has one little white thing that sticks up, one little white crest feather.
When
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
what's funny is that Popcorn and Scott, they love each other.
Right.
And Roomba is Popcorn's baby. And Crystal, which is the white peacock, peahen, is best friends with Roomba.
That's right.
Marycarl, when you were little, you loved to draw pictures of peacocks or
All the
pea
time.
chicks.
Mm-hmm.
And she would always put the little things on the top of her head. Jason, do you remember this? We would ask her what that was called, and she always called it a fantay.
I always called it a fantasy.
She just
made that up.
She did, but she acted like we were crazy that we didn't know that. Mama, that's the fantay. The fantay.
I don't even. What are those? Is that called anything? Just a crest?
It's a
Crest.
fantay,
Or
dude.
It's a
tuft.
fantay. That
She
is a
always,
fantay.
and she would always have 3 of them with little balls on the end of them.
That is
Fantay.
so funny.
We'll have to dig up some of her old artwork and show her.
We'll have to do that.
You probably don't remember it, do you?
I do.
You do
Oh,
remember the
you
fantay?
And somebody has gave us this little, I think it's clay. It's a peacock, and it has one little feather sticking out the top of its head and a little fan for a tail. It's a peacock feather
Oh yeah.
fan.
Oh yeah.
And it is so funny because the little feather is like a light blue. And
It's a fantay.
yeah,
It's a fantay.
That's right. All right.
This is from Mom. I was shocked. Me and Marycarl were looking at questions on YouTube, and several people asked about your green cast iron Dutch oven pot, and
What-
where did it come from? And I'm almost certain where it came from. Do you know where it come from?
Well, you better reset this camera because it's fixing to.
Oh, hang on.
The green cast enamel pot.
Yes,
I don't know.
TJ Maxx.
Oh, did it?
Yes,
I love TJ Maxx.
that's where it came from.
This is not a paid sponsor by TJ Maxx.
I can't believe you
But-
just didn't say, you could say TJ Maxx on anything we own, and you'd be 50% right. I would guarantee it, if
Well-
not more.
I don't particularly like to shop. I'm not a clothes. I don't like to try on clothes and stuff like that. Just give it to me. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I love TJ Maxx. Okay. I just bring it home and try it on later.
and then
right.
you take it back if it doesn't
That's
fit.
right.
That's right.
They have a great return policy, and who doesn't love a good return policy? And their home goods. Oh my gracious! And my dog stuff. Too bad they don't sell chicken supplies there.
Ooh, if they would.
Marycarl's even learned to like it a little. As a matter of fact, we were recently on a little day out, and I said, "You about ready to go home?" And she said, "Let's go to TJ Maxx." And Mama
Really?
was over here going, "Yes."
She used to not like TJ. She used to like TJ Maxx, then she got where she didn't like TJ Maxx, and now she's back liking TJ Maxx
Yeah,
again.
she likes it. She's a secret liker.
That is so funny.
I mean,
TJ
I
Maxx.
was like, cha-ching, I didn't want to go home anyway.
Marycarl, how many eggs do we get a day?
Right now, about 10. It's cooler. It's wintertime, actually.
But
Yeah.
what's the biggest reason?
Because the daylight.
That's exactly right.
And when it's summertime, I'll probably get around 40 eggs. 30, 40.
Yep.
I get a lot of eggs in the summertime.
So what do we do with all these eggs we get?
We pretty much use them ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we also sell them locally.
That's right. I get asked that a bunch. That may be one of our number one questions is what do we do with all these eggs? And we do sell them to locals and friends and family. And also people want to know, well, if you sell them, how much do you sell them for? And in our market, we can get $4 a dozen.
That's right. A lot of time goes and feed goes into taking care of chickens. Marycarl gets the money for the eggs, and she kind of set the price. Plus, we use a clear carton that cost us about 50 cents a piece, and we do ask people to return those cartons. But that cost, we have to include or think about the cost of the carton also.
And I will say this about the carton. We had some people say, well, we shouldn't buy the plastic carton.
We reuse them.
I would say 99% of our customers returned that clear plastic carton. When we had the paper type, which we don't like, they didn't return them.
They didn't return them.
But that clear plastic
and plus
one,
they tore up.
They would tear up.
So we haven't bought cartons, but I don't think one time because they're totally reusable.
Totally reusable. And we never asked our customers to return them. They just automatically return them.
That's right.
What determines who gets crumble and who gets layer pellets?
Well, the pheasants get layer crumble, but right now, since we don't have any females, they're just eating game bird feed. When we have females, they eat the layer crumble,
But why not pellets?
because it's really hard for them to eat their small bird.
And plus the quail are in there too.
Yes. And the chickens, nugget, the geese, whoever comes in there, get the other layer pellets. And it has a very low protein. It's like 18, no, not 18.
16%.
Yeah, it's
16.
like 14%, I think.
We use a 16% because nugget is also consuming the feed.
Right.
And emus do not need a high protein.
Right.
They need fiber and they need a lower protein. So
And this feed actually has the same things that emus need.
Right.
That's right. So that's why we choose that particular feed. But the reason we don't use crumble for everybody is what?
Because it's so messy.
They waste so much of it. What really determines is if it's the size or the age. Almost everything that's full grown on our farm is going to eat a pellet. But if it's small or a chick or baby ducks or something like that, then they typically get crumble. But sometimes the feed store runs out of pellets and we have to get crumble. But if we prefer pellets over crumble any day.
Oh yes, the mess.
They just waste so much of the crumble feed.
For my specialty chickens, like the silkies, my Bantams, and the Polishes, I like to use a high-quality feed called Klombach. It has a lot of seeds and stuff in it, but it has layer feed in it. And they don't waste it. I don't know how.
They don't. They eat every little morsel of that feed.
Yep.
But it's not sold somewhere where we have easy access to. So we only get that if we are in the vicinity where it's sold.
Yep. Otherwise, they'll get
laying
pellets.
Laying pellets.
Yep.
Okay, Marycarl is wanting to skip out on us. That
is she?
doesn't happen very often, but I just got the nudge, and that indicates she's ready to go.
One more thing then, because your main question was, what is the difference between a silkie, a showgirl, a sizzle, and a frizzle? And you've been wanting to answer this question for a week.
You don't need to go to the restroom, do you?
No.
Okay.
But a showgirl, well, silkie first. A silkie is a chicken that has silky feathers and bluish black skin. And it's just your average silkie.
Which is the breed, the silky breed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then a showgirl is a normal silkie with a naked neck. And if you don't know,
feathers.
And no feathers. And it is a cross between between a turkin, which is a naked neck, and a silkie. And then 50% you're going to get the naked neck gene, and then the other 50 you're going to get the just normal silkie gene. And then Sizzle is a cross between a Cochin Frizzle and a silkie. And it's same, 50% is going to be the Frizzle gene and 50% is going to be your silkie gene. And you can also cross Showgirl or Sizzle with each other, and you're going to get Showgirl Sizzle probably, which would be really cool.
I was wondering why you hadn't done that yet.
Because I don't really have the...
Well,
well,
I'm thinking of one right now.
I have a chick that is April's baby, and
That's
it's
what
a
I'm thinking of.
Showgirl, and it doesn't have sizzled feathers.
Okay.
And the difference between a Sizzle and a Frizzle is that a Frizzle is a Cochin. A Cochin is a breed of Bantam. Well, Cleo's a Cochin. She's a standard one or giant. They're called giant Cochins.
She's enormous.
She's beautiful.
Yes. But
Absolutely beautiful.
they come in frizzled patterns, which is a chicken with flipped out feathers. The feathers go like that.
I could get
instead of
Cleo
like
in
that.
a Frizzle.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, like from a hatchery?
Yeah, probably. It's really hard to get partridge.
I know what somebody's going to be looking on the internet tomorrow.
I'm thinking feed stores are fixing to start getting chicks, but I wonder if you could tell that.
You would only have to, you could get a red or white or
Oh,
black.
well, then
Okay.
that solves that.
And then
A sizzle.
there is a frizzled Polish, which is
Oh, that's the picture that's been going around.
Yeah, it's a picture of a buff lace Polish that has flipped out feathers. And if you've seen that picture, that's what,
Cotton?
no,
I was
Yeah.
going to say that's what she is.
yeah, she's the same breed as that chicken. If you've seen the picture of the Polish,
What's
the
that
buff lace
Polish's
Polish,
name?
Nugget.
Nugget the chick. You've seen that picture go around. It's a frizzled Polish.
And there's a frizzled Polish. There's a lot of frizzled
Don't we have a
chickens.
frizzle Polish?
Well, Judy,
Yeah,
Judy. Yeah.
Judy. Judy's a Tobit frizzled Polish.
She's beautiful.
she is beautiful.
And I'm really not sure how you get a frizzled Polish. I guess
we're
it's
going to breed Judy with somebody and get us a frizzled
That's
Polish.
right. That's right. Now, how do you get a sizzle? What's a sizzle?
a sizzle is a. I just said that a minute ago.
I didn't hear you say a sizzle. Did you?
Well, I was thinking about Cleo at the
Oh, no.
time, so
How
I
do you
don't
get
know.
a sizzle?
It's a Cochin Frizzle and a Silkie.
Oh, a Cochin frizzle and a silky. That gives you a sizzle.
Let's
And
take
a
this
frizzle is what? A frizzle Cochin
Yeah, it's just a frizzled Cochin.
and a silky.
Let's take it
No.
one.
Okay, just a frizzle Cochin.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
I'm confused already.
Marycarl. This is going to confuse you even worse.
I'm
What's a
already confused.
frazzle?
A frazzle is anything with frizzled feathers mixed with a frizzled feather. If you have a Polish frizzle rooster
Mm-hmm.
and you have a sizzle hen, and sizzle's a flipped out feathered silkie,
All right, so say we had Judy, who's a frizzled Polish,
and you bred it with
a frizzled something else.
if one of the little new frizzle roosters.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. It's going to
That-
make a frazzle?
Yeah, and they have all sorts of health problems that you do not want.
So you stay away from the frazzles.
No, you
Yes.
stay away from a frizzle and a frizzle being bred together.
That's a frazzle.
It's bad. All I know is a frazzle is bad.
Frazzles are bad.
I
Their
don't
hair can even fall out, can it?
And I have one that I thought was a frazzle, but thankfully she's not.
She's not.
I'm pretty
she
sure
just
she's
molted,
not.
yeah.
She molted and it took a long time for her
Yeah.
feathers
She's
to grow.
beautiful
She's
now.
beautiful, yeah. She's good
She's
to go.
Yeah,
fluffy.
you don't want to breed a frizzle and a frizzle, right?
No.
Stay away from frizzle and frizzle.
Don't put those two together.
They-
Only hens and only roosters. That makes a
The
mess.
common problem with them is heart problems and
Mm-hmm.
feather issues and skin issues.
Isn't that bizarre that you can breed those two and it creates a
Ain't that crazy?
ultimate problem?
That is crazy.
I guess it's kind of like people when they have two genes that are the same and they create, a problem.
Yeah.
And it's the same with that. The genetic makeup is just not meant to recreate.
That's crazy.
She's hitting me again.
Okay. Well, I knew that you didn't want to answer that question, so
Peace,
Yeah, I
peace
have.
out. Peace out, Marycarl. You did very well.
Thank you.
We enjoyed you while you lasted.
Uh-oh. Got it?
I don't know whose mic is whose. Okay, and we're back.
So,
After growing meat chickens for selling, have you decided to not continue to grow them even for your own consumption? Do you think the work and expense of raising them are too much, or just tired of butchering chickens? In all honesty, I am tired of butchering chickens.
yeah, we did it for over 5 years.
And not to say that I'm spoiled and it's nothing to do with that. It's just I'm done. We sold our processing equipment.
We did.
I cannot see justification of me going out and raising 10 meat chickens.
No, not with the equipment we had.
Not with the equipment I had,
no.
and not going to doing it manually.
Right.
We do love us some Butcher Box, and they do have organic chicken.
Organic.
Free range.
Free range chicken.
That's right. And to compare the cost and the time is the biggest thing. I'm not going to talk about cost because it's various prices throughout the United States.
Yes.
It depends on what your feed cost is. It
That's
depends
right.
on what you've got in the chick initially. So your costs, you have to figure that on your own because it's not the same from region to region. It was economical for us. We made a profit. We wouldn't have done it without making a profit, but we are done.
Yeah, we're done with meat chickens. I guess never say never, but
Right now, we're done.
right now I don't see us doing it anymore.
We honestly do not have the time. YouTube was not what it is now.
Right.
It took our entire weekend. By the time we had to bring equipment out, it took 2 days.
It took
basically,
2 solid days. Yeah.
to clean them, to clean the equipment, to have it put back up,
Yep.
and plus I feel like it took a lot of years off
Well,
my
you-
life
it
because I
was-
was sure enough tired. At
It
the
was
end of the day.
really 2.5 because, well, maybe in 3 days because day one, you get all the equipment out. Then you get it all set up. You get it all clean and sanitized. All that. Had to fill the scalder up, cut the scalder on, get it ready for the next morning. All this preparing. And it's a lot. It's a lot. Getting the coolers ready, having to get all the ice ready. All this was done the day before, getting all the bags out, the scales, the tables.
And that would not pertain to everybody. Some people
Yes.
would have one area where you could store the equipment, use the equipment, and then not have to
That's
move
true.
the equipment. But we had a separate storage area. We were able to process in a covered area, but it was not to where we could store the equipment.
Right.
So therefore, it was very, very time consuming.
It was very time consuming. Speaking of that, there's a question here that kind of follows that. Does Marycarl eat chicken?
Marycarl eats any kind of meat.
She does eat, and she does eat chicken with no.
No, she's processed many a chicken. She's very interested in the organ makeup and, just how things work.
Yeah.
She realizes what goes into her meat, her eggs, yes.
She's very conscious about it.
Oh, she is. And she wouldn't go out and butcher one of her chickens. Although a chicken is a chicken is a chicken, but her chickens are different than Cornish chickens.
Yeah.
She would not butcher one of her chickens, but
No.
she would not have a problem with doing it to a Cornish chicken.
Yeah, she wouldn't have a problem with that at all.
And I know some of y'all might say, well, that's not right because a chicken is a chicken. Well, it's not because the initial purpose of that chicken was for meat,
Yep.
whereas the initial purpose of her chickens was, for pleasure or for laying
Yeah,
or for
pets.
exhibition or whatever. So it's I feel like that's a difference in your mind anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Let's see here. Sorting through here. We may have answered them all. I was gonna get her to answer that one. We may come back to that one next week. How long after the chicks are hatched do they need to start eating and drinking? Typically, you'll leave the chick in the incubator for 24 hours.
Until it's good and dry.
Right.
You want to make sure that it's no longer looking like it's wet.
Right.
And when a chick first hatches, it's not the prettiest thing in the world.
No.
It's kind of sticky looking, and so make sure it gets dry first. And then we always dip its beak as soon as it goes into the brooder. However, we do not give food immediately. And the reason is you just want to get that water rolling through its system and get it a jump start before you introduce food. So I would say a couple hours later you could introduce food.
Yep. That's after it dries.
After it dries.
Right.
But pretty quick after you put it in the brooder, you should offer it water by dipping it. They're not going to find it on their own. You just take the chick in your hand and dip its beak. Now don't hold it there, but just so it gets wet and it knows where its water is. And the same thing with the feed. When you introduce the feed, let it know where it is.
Yep.
Because this is foreign to them. They don't know. This is their first time in the world, and they need to be helped.
So after it hatches and dries, immediately, show it some water. I know some people don't like the dipping of the beaks. I know some people say you can put the marbles in the water, and you probably can, but we've always dipped ours and never had a single issue whatsoever dipping beaks.
No, back when we did meat chickens and they came in,
yes,
we would have 100, sometimes 120 chicks, and we would dip every single beak.
Because we learned the hard way.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't dip them, they're not going to know where that water is.
We learned the hard way.
Another question is, do we ever have any insects or pests get into our feed barrels?
Yes. No.
You said yes.
Well, I meant the yes on the question. No, we never had any issues whatsoever. The only time I can think of that we've had any pests get in there, like an insect, it was in the feed before we got it.
Yeah, there's little meal bugs, as
little
they call
weevils or whatever they are.
But that is just characteristic of old feed.
Yep.
If feed sits for any amount of time, it's gonna get those little bugs in it. You may want to kind of be cautious of the date on the feed bag and where you're buying it from, because it might have been sitting there a little while if it's got bugs in it. But other than that, we don't have any issues.
No issues with somebody asked me about rats and mice getting in them, and
we've never had a problem.
We never had a problem. Plus, we have, several cats. We got Pink and Tucker, and then we got Sassy Man.
Yeah, we've got Mort,
Angora.
Yeah, Miss Beasley. The list goes on.
Is that it now?
I don't know.
I think that's it.
Forgetting anybody?
I think that's it. Of
Jason,
course, half those are your mom's.
How do you keep cabbage worms out of your broccoli?
Okay. This year we had a easy year when it came to pest in the fall garden. And I think it was because it was really cold. We had a really cold winter here. But generally, I do 3 things for pest control. And this is fall, summer, spring, any time of the year. I used 4 different sprays, okay? So on week 1, I will spray with neem oil and spinosad, and these are all organic. Week 2, I'll spray everything with neem oil again and pyrethrin. And then week 3, I will spray again with neem oil and BT. That's Boy Thomas. BT. There's some scientific name what BT stands for. And
can you get all that at Hoss?
You can get all that at Hoss. They have it all. And that's what I do. And I have hardly any pest whatsoever. Now, the thing with organic pesticides is you got to be proactive, because organic pesticides are not made to stop an invasion. They're not made to
treat an infestation.
Once you get an infestation, the organic pesticides are probably not going to do you any good. So you have to be proactive on that and use it as a preventative and not something to kill an infestation. It's too late by then. So that's why organic pesticides you spray on a regular basis. So,
question: what are we going to do with goat milk when we do milk our goats?
I'm going to drink it.
I got all kind of plans for this goat milk.
We're going to drink.
I'm going to tell y'all something. I made some hot fudge.
Oh, yes.
With Laura at Simply Making It's goat milk. Mm-hmm. I milked her goats for a week while she went on vacation, and so she was so kind. But in return for my duty of milking her goats, she gave me a little recipe book, and it had a recipe in there for some hot fudge sauce, and so I used that goat milk. And y'all, Marycarl was like, "Mama, you got any more of that hot fudge sauce?" And I was like, "Baby, we're out of goat milk," but that's number 1 on my list is to make
the fudge.
Make the fudge sauce.
We also made ice cream. Remember, we bought an ice cream maker.
We bought an ice cream maker, and we bought it just because we had the goat's milk.
That's right.
That's kind of crazy, but
it was delicious though.
We're gonna make all kind of stuff.
We are gonna make all kind of stuff.
We're going to drink it raw, too.
We're going to drink it raw. We're going to make...
boo-boo.
I want to try butter.
I'll try anything.
I want to try butter.
I think it's just amazing that we can raise something that will give back to us and, put something.
I'm so excited about it. Really.
I am too.
Yeah,
I really
am excited about it.
Think those Nubians are going to give us
the Nubians are going to be awesome.
And we're probably going to do different things with different milk. Like the Nigerians have a high butter fat.
Mm-hmm.
We'll probably use it for, say, butter.
We could use it for butter.
And then the Nubians we may use for more, drinking, consuming. I don't know, but I bet you by then I'm going to have me an Instapot recipe.
A goat milk.
I even saw that
Instapot.
somebody said you could pasteurize goat milk in an Instapot.
I'm sure you could because you pressurize it.
Well, I think some of them have a pasteurized button. Mine doesn't. Mine's not that fancy, but that's okay. Well, I don't know what we didn't get to, but we'll get to it on the next one, or either y'all keep sending questions.
Yes, please. Keep
sending questions for this crazy family to answer,
and we'll try our best.
We will. We'll try our best. We have a little program that takes YouTube questions and it just condenses them down.
Yep.
We can print them out. So y'all enter your questions.
And I will say this, it makes it easier for the program to pick it up if you put a question mark on your question when you comment on a YouTube video. So if you put a question mark there, it kind of filters those out for us.
You teach me something new every day.
So you guys...
That's why I love you, Mr. Cog.
Well, I love you, too.
I'm learning as I go. So we were talking just yesterday about how well we know each other, this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And how long we've known each other. We've almost known each other our whole life.
Yeah, we really have.
If you start I was 17 years old. Jason was 18. And we're now 45 and 45.
Yep, 45 and 45.
You'll be 46
soon
in the March.
Yep.
So we've known each other a long time. I think we can finish each other's sentences.
We have known each other.
But I didn't know that. He teaches me something new.
You teach me a lot, too.
Well, I want you to note that. Next time I teach you something, you say, you just taught me something. Because it doesn't happen very often.
I'll do that.
You're a pretty smart one.
I'll do that.
All right. Worm tea, you want to answer that real quick?
Huh?
Worm tea, I just saw that.
You saw the one about worm tea?
What are we going to do with the worm tea?
Well, they want to know where we're going to water it down.
Are we going to drink it?
I wonder how good it would be.
Probably not as good as that goat milk.
Are we going to water it down, or are we going to put it on there full strength? It's not going to. There's nothing in there that's going to burn anything. So full strength's fine. It's not that powerful of stuff. Worm tea's probably. It's just not. It's not enough
majority of it's going to be water,
and it's just going to have some micro nutrients in it. And other than that, that's going to be it. So we won't have to water that down. Just pour it straight on there, and we actually did that this week.
So put a question mark at the beginning of your question.
At the end.
Oh.
At the end of the question.
So I didn't listen.
Just use a question mark, and it's easier for us to filter them out.
All right. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this.
Hope y'all enjoyed it.
Episode of the Cogcast podcast.
Y'all be good.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the podcast. I hope you like these podcasts. And if you have not seen our main channel, our vlogging channel, check it out right over here. And I put a couple of videos over here that I think you may like. Y'all be good.